Welcome to the Michael Singer podcast, presented by Sounds True, in partnership with Shanti Publications. For more information about Michael Singer's work, access to all prior episodes, and information about upcoming releases, we invite you to join us at michaelsingerpodcast.com.
Jai Masters. I think in general, on the spiritual path, the mind gets a bad rap. There's nothing wrong with mind. There's nothing wrong with the body. There's nothing wrong with the world. There's nothing wrong with the heart. They're parts of reality. Creation took place, and we discussed it over and over again. It started off with wavelets of light. That's all it was. And now the scientists have gone all the way down to the quantum level and found wavelets of light. I don't know if you know that. That's what they found. At first, they found molecules. Wow, it's not what it looks like. There's molecules. Then they found atoms. It was always atoms. Molecules are just groups of atoms. They're made of atoms. You know that. But then they found, well, it's not really just atoms. Atoms are just electron, neutron, and protons. Tons and tons of them. Where? On Earth? No. All over the universe. Every single star, every single thing that exists is electron, neutron, and protons. That's what form is. Everywhere is. Well, then they blew it completely and said, well, are they the most elemental particles? Electron, neutron, and protons? We were taught that in school. I was taught that. You were taught that. And they built these great colliders, miles and miles long, up in Switzerland and France and CERN, and they bombarded protons against each other at the speeds of light. Billions of them would take, that some would collide because they'd hit each other, and they broke apart. Well, then they weren't an elemental particle. And they realized, and what breaks apart only lasts for a millisecond, tiny moments. And they have all this machinery that can pick up the fact that existed for those moments. And they found that there were subatomic particles beyond the atom, lower than the atom. And that's what quantum physics studies. And you should know it. You have to study it. Believe me, you don't want to study it. They say that quantum mechanics is the most complicated math that possibly exists. But what we're talking about is what's called quantum field theory. What's going on? What's underneath there? That's what the quantum field theory is. And it basically said we can break these things up. Well, what are they? What are these things that come out when you break up a proton, you break up a neutron? And so I think it's adorable. They have to give them names. Everything has to be named. And I'm serious. The general name for those elemental particles, they call them quarks. And then they gave them names because there were multiples of them. The up quark, the down quark, the charm quark, the strange quark, the bottom quark, and the top quark. There's 6 of them. And those are the quarks. Then there's leptons and bosons, and those are forces, everything. It's just, they're all made up. Everything we deal with is made up of those elemental particles. It's not like there's an atom plus those. No. It's like there's not H2O molecules plus water plus ice and steam. There's H2O molecules. If they're vibrating at different rates, they show up as ice, they show up as water, they show up as steam, right? It was the same thing here. These are the basic particles. This is what the universe is made of. And then there was this whole period of time where they called them particles. And then there was a whole argument. Is light a particle, photons, or is light a wave? And not only did they find out that light was a wave, but that all of them are waves. That there are no quarks, leptons, and bosons. There's just wavelets in a quantum field. They get agitated, just like a lake that's perfectly still. That's what the universe is. Right? That's Buddhist empty mind. It's just a total still lake, and something agitates it. Well, it makes waves. Is that wave a particle? No, it's a wave. But if they interact together, they start to build properties like charges and forces, and then they act like particles. But there are no particles. There's just waves down there. So when the Bible says, in the beginning, God said, let there be light, and there was light, that is, you got yourself down there. That's pretty far out, eh? Okay? And they went down there. So that's what's going on. So it's very nice to start a spiritual discussion with truth. You shall know the truth, and truth set you free. Well, why does it set you free? You have a problem? I take people, all right? Here's a periodic table. You know what a periodic table looks like. Which one of those boxes do you like? Which one don't you like? Point to male, point to female, point to good, point to bad, point to right, point to wrong, point to just, point to unjust. And that's still atoms. Now let's go back down to the quantum field. Which of those wavelets is good and which is bad? And all of a sudden, the truth sets you free. I started by telling you, there's nothing wrong with mind. There's nothing drastically wrong with how you use it. You have a mind. And what does your mind tell you? I don't like this. I don't like that. That's not fair. That's not just. I don't like that this happened. I hope that doesn't happen. Yes or no? No, me, just my mind does that? Your mind doesn't do that? How about all the time? Okay? Like we talk, no, I studied hard for years. I have positive thinking. What does that mean? It means your mind tries hard to think about positive things. Why? Because otherwise we'd think about negative things. Have you noticed? Have you noticed that it tends to drop down and you have to pick it up? There, we're talking about mind. That's mind. So we just use mind for something really, really beautiful. What? Truth. There's all this fake news and all kinds of stuff people talk about, right? Who knows? I forget. I don't want to know the words we use, right? Of all the junk that's going on out there of what mind can. Can mind create anything? Can you make up anything you want with your mind? There are people who say that these astronauts just went to the moon. They didn't. It was fake. It's all fake news. Okay, fine. They used to believe that the Earth was the most primary thing and everything circled around the Earth. Galileo got in trouble. You know that. He got locked up. I have to be fair. They locked him up in a very nice place, all right? He was a great scientist. But they locked him up, right? Because he said that where the Earth revolves around the sun. So there is this thing called truth that even now people use their minds to say it's not. I think it's really beautiful. And that's why we have science. And people say the scientists are wrong. It's amazing. You know, Hitler was saying he's a Jewish boy, right? But I don't mind talking about Hitler, right? Hitler arrested the scientists. Einstein had to flee Germany. So did many, many of the great scientists because of the fact that he didn't like scientists. He did not like scientists. He went to the universities and threw everybody out. Why? Because he wanted his truth to be the truth. And he didn't want anybody to sit there and say that they know more. And he wanted to be whatever he wanted to be. So we're not like that. We like scientists. Truth is, your scientists, your true scientists, are your preachers. They're revealing God to you. They're showing you truth, and the truth will set you free. Well, how does that truth set me free? Because I don't understand how you have a single problem in life of every single thing you're looking at and dealing with is wavelets in the quantum field. Where's your problems? Your problem is that mind won't look at it that way. Mind won't take the brilliance that you've been shown. You sit there and say, but what is it really? I don't know. Take a microscope and look in a microscope and you see these cells moving around. Well, I don't see them normally. They must not be there. You're not looking close enough. Well, my eyes can't see that way. Einstein once said that the greatest impediment to science are your senses. Because they lie to you. Do you see people? There are no people here. That's right there, sitting right there, is 35 trillion living cells, all made of atoms, all made of quantum vibration. Now, which is it? The problem with our minds is we won't use them properly. Like, imagine that you didn't have one, that it didn't know all this stuff that we now know. Well, that's sad. What did it take for us to learn about microscopes and telescopes and quantum physics and all that? It took the mind. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then people say, well, isn't that a waste of time? Why are you learning that stuff? Why would you want to know about that stuff? Because it's the truth. And if you know the truth, guess what? Your mind doesn't bother you. If you could walk around with electron microscopes on your eyes so that they weren't lying to you, you would not have a problem. You would not see black or white or prejudice or this. Nothing. It's just a bunch of atoms moving around, right? The closest example that I can get you to, and you should do it, you all have flat screen TVs. Get up real close to your favorite movie when it's most exciting, all right? Get up so close that there's not a picture anymore. There's what? There's these little dots. We give names to the dots, not up quark and down quark. We call them pixels. There's these little pixels moving around, and they're not even moving. They're just getting lit up or not lit up. They don't move. They're not like swimming around in there. That is the equivalent of putting on electron microscopes. And so you sit there and say to me, well, which is it? Is it pixels or is it my favorite movie? It's what you're willing to pay attention to. So if you go there and you look at pixels, you don't have a problem. There's nothing happening there, man. Just a bunch of little pixel lights turning on and off. Well, then you don't have problems because that is what's going on. But still, the mind wants to say, yeah, but how to earn a living? Yeah, but how to get a nicer house? Yeah, but what do I do with the plumbing? And so you get to the point where you sit there and say, the mind is your friend. The mind is not a problem. What you are doing with it is a problem. And the fact that you refuse to use your mind for what it was meant for. Do you have a mind? How do you know? Do you have thoughts? How do you know? Okay, physicists can't see your thoughts. Someday they might, but they don't now. But you know you have thoughts. Then you know more than the physicists. You know that there are higher vibrations in this universe than the physical plane. Ooh, we're going to get weird. And no, it's not weird. It's just they didn't used to know that there were infrared and ultraviolet. And then they found out. They found instruments that could measure it. So all of a sudden it became part of the physical plane. The entire electromagnetic spectrum is considered part of the physical plane, okay? You think they know all the vibrations? It'll get subtler and subtler, and they'll add that to the physical plane. In fact, they added quarks, leptons, bosons, up quarks, down quarks. They're not weird. They're part of the physical plane. We know about them. And because you can measure them, because we have instruments over those instruments, go check out CERN, right? Those instruments are phenomenal. Those super colliders were some of the biggest scientific experiments ever built. What was the biggest that was ever built? The Manhattan Project, when they found out how to break apart those atoms. What is that? What's holding the electron, neutron, protons together? What's holding a proton together? That was way back in the 40s that they found out you could split a proton. They couldn't see it. They didn't have quantum physics. The basics of it was there, right? But they couldn't measure it. They couldn't do this stuff. Now they can, right? But they kind of knew that it broke apart. How? Boom. That's how much power. They say there are 4 forces in the universe that build and hold the whole universe together. And they are part of the quantum fields, all right? They come from that field. And what are they? Gravity, well, we know about that. The electromagnetic force. And then there's 2 other weird ones. The strong nuclear force and the weak nuclear force. That's it. That's what science has found. Those 4 forces create and hold together the entire universe. Well, what's the strong nuclear force? What happens if you take 2 positive poles of a magnet, push them together? They repel each other, okay? Well, I thought that a proton was positively charged. And a whole bunch of them really close together, right? Like uranium-235, and mess around with that stuff, right? It's like that's 235 protons shoved together into the core of an atom. Well, why don't they repel each other? Ever think about it? Why don't they repel each other? Nice question, isn't it? Because there's a force that's stronger than the magnetic force. What do I want to call it? Well, let's call it the strong nuclear force. What is the strong nuclear force? The force that must exist to make it so that all that power of positive repulsion of electromagnetism, it overcomes that and forces them to stay together. Let's call it the strong nuclear force. Isn't that neat? It's not weird. It's not stuff you can't understand. Kind of neat to know the stuff in it. That is what's going on all the time. This is not going on. It's not an illusion, right? But if you take all those forces and let them interact with each other, it's amazing. This is what comes out. Wow. All right? But the problem is you won't think deep enough to bring that knowledge, that wisdom, that science, your own scientists for all these 1,000 years, Plato, Aristotle, everybody, all the way up. But you won't use your mind for that. I'm not going to stop here. We'll talk about why. You're free. I've taught recently, and they don't like it if I teach it. All right? There are no problems. There are no problems. What do you call a problem? She calls a problem that this is happening and that's happening. Right? Somebody's husband or wife left them. Okay? But what you don't know is that they are Catholic and they can't get divorced. The person we're talking about, right? That the person left, and they didn't get along at all, and it was a terrible relationship. And now somebody left a Dear John note, and it said, "I'm leaving you." They're celebrating. I'm free. I don't have to listen to the church. It's a problem. When's it a problem? You ready? Let's get it over with. When you say it is. When you say what took place, truth, you don't like, it's a problem. What if you do like it? Then it's not a problem. A problem is something that took place that you don't like. Is anyone willing to listen? I want to ask, is that a truth or not? Who determines whether it's a problem? You do. Your mind does. Now we get into, how did it get like that? Why do you want to have problems? Why don't you just enjoy your time here? It's like there's little wavelets, and that's what trees are, and that's what a baby got. We had a friend in our community and had a baby the other day. All right. I don't know. I'm weird. Yes, it's adorable. Okay. I own the pictures. I want to send pictures. No. That is a single cell. One single microscopic fertilized cell that when the mother ate Twinkies and drank Coke, it knew how to chemically break those things down and put them together to build the body of that baby. No doctor did it. The mother didn't do it. Einstein didn't do it. That cell knew how to build every single organ in the body and put it together. OMG. Oh, isn't it cute? No, it's a little beyond cute. It's like, do you understand that? Oh, but you have the answer because you're a scientist. Oh, no. There's these little squiggly little molecules called DNA. They know how to do it. Oh, well, that's really good. How can these squiggly little chains of molecules have the brilliance and intelligence and wisdom and knowledge to divide themselves over and over and over and over again, and a body comes out? What's a tree? That. Take a seed, just happen to drop it in the ground. It takes the dirt, the water, the sunlight. That seed has in it the intelligence to build a tree, to build cornfields. And you don't think like that. You say, "Oh, this corn's not so sweet." Look at the comparison of what your mind could be used for versus what it is used for. Amazing, isn't it? So there's nothing wrong with mind. There's something drastically wrong with how you use it. You use it to complain. You use it to have problems. Go on, get born on the planet Earth. I always tell this story. I like this story because I'm big into space, you know that, right? So these non-embodied souls are floating around, and they have a teacher, all right? And he pulls them together, and he's traveling the universe. They're all traveling the universe and everything. And they get down, and they see this planet, different than the other planets, all right? It's got water. It's got land. It's got white clouds. It's like just floating out there. And the guru, the teacher, pulls them together and says, "Okay, guys, we're going to go down there." And so he says, "Well, what's down there? We'll find out. It looks really interesting." Okay? Well, what can I do down there when I go down there? Whatever you want. There's computers. There's the weather. There's science. There's love. There's dancing. There's singing. There's bugs. There's everything. Every single thing's going on down there. It's unbelievable. And we can do whatever we want. You can do whatever you want. there's a planet down there. It's got all this stuff going on. You can go down there and learn and do and play. Do I have to stay? No. No, you don't have to stay. It's just a vacation. It's just some place we'll go down to and we'll play around and you do your thing. Oh, I want to study science when I get down there. I want to play music. Can you play music down here? Can you make music? Is there music? Right? I want to be a film producer. Oh my God, there's so many things I can do. So everyone raise their hand. They talk about what they want to do. All right? Do you know that not one of them raised their hand and said, I want to go down there and suffer. I want to go down there and be miserable. I want to go down there and be depressed. I want to go down there and feel no one loves me. And I'm not happy and no one will ever love me. I don't like it down here at all. And there's nothing but problems. And whoa, what happened? Do you hear me? Because it is the truth. Look what's going on. Look at the place. It's everything. But instead, you suffer. Right? So there were some wise people who came and visited here, like the Buddha. The Buddha, in essence, he didn't ask like we just did, all right? But he asked, why are people suffering? He was a prince. He lived in a palace. He had everything. Wife, children, a child, all right? That's Buddha's background. And the palace had big walls, and they didn't go outside the walls. But Buddha somehow got in his head, people are suffering. Why? Why is there suffering? He didn't say it's just quantum vibrations. He didn't know about that, right? But he did say it's all transient, though. It's coming and going. Why are they having trouble? And that man, such respect. Are you kidding me? That's 500 BC. That's before all the science stuff. And he sat there and he wanted to know why everybody suffers. Do rich people suffer? You read the newspapers? Billionaires are having fun, fighting each other and suing each other and hating each other and ruining each other. Isn't it fun? Poor people, isn't it fun? Men, women, everything. So Buddha looked and he said, all life is suffering. These are four noble truths. Four, just four. All life is suffering. Doesn't mean you broke your arm yesterday. It means you're suffering. You're struggling. You're suffering. And he literally asked, why? Why? And he went out and he meditated and sat on trees and starved himself. Oh my God. We see the Buddha, big Buddha. No, the Buddha was an ascetic. At that stage of his life, he see bones. He sat there and tried to think and see why would people suffer. Well, how can thinking figure that out? Right? There's all kinds of people. There's billions of people. They'll have different reasons. She suffers because the husband left. She suffers because she's getting older. Right? Everybody suffers for a different reason. How can he sit there and say, why is there suffering? And he sat there and meditated, meaning what? He thought. He contemplated it. He studied it. And he did the most amazing thing. He came back and said, I have found the cause of suffering. And his other people in the tradition, when he came back, said, well, so are we. There's sickness. There's poverty. There's old age. There's lots of suffering. He said, no. There's one cause of all suffering. Oh, you got pretty quiet in here. One cause of all suffering. So his first noble truth was all life is suffering. And his second noble truth was the cause of suffering, and I'm going to use the word I use, is preference. Well, you generally hear desire. What is a preference? A desire. What is a desire? A strong preference. You can't have a desire without a preference, can you? So let's stop there. Second noble truth. The cause of suffering is preference. Is that true? No. I don't like getting gray hair. Oh, is that a preference? What if you don't mind getting gray hair? Then I don't suffer. Right? Are you going to get old? Is it going to be tough? You need some aches and pains and everything sags and the hair falls out when you get old? Yes or no? Okay? Is that suffering? To some people. Why? Because they prefer that it not happen. You have a preference. I'm not saying good or bad. I'm not judging you. But is it not a preference to not want to get old? And then as you get old, if you prefer not to, you suffer. The cause of suffering is preference. I don't like talking about it because you don't want to think about it. But he's right. If you don't have a preference for or against something, you don't suffer. Did you know that some of the white lines in the road are dashed and some are solid? Did you know that? Are you okay with that? Did you know that Saturn has rings? Is that okay with you that Saturn has rings? Are you sure? Because if you don't, you suffer. You're one of those people with signs. Saturn has rings. Oh my God, it's the devil. That's all it takes to suffer, isn't it? Just don't want it to be and you will suffer. Okay? Take a breath. Mind is doing that. Your mind is doing that. Your mind is deciding, I want to suffer. I don't want to die. Therefore, I want to suffer. As opposed to, what's going to happen when I die? Now, you listen to me. You know what the answer is? You have no idea. You haven't done it yet. You got a bucket list? That better be on the bucket list. It's something I haven't done yet, right? But guess what? You're going to find out. Whoa. I don't need to listen to the preachers and the teachers and this and that and scientists. I'm going to find out. You're going to find out what happens when you die. Are you not? Are you guaranteed to find out? Why is that not exciting? The greatest mystery of all of life is what is death. You will personally find out. Wow, that's kind of neat, isn't it? So you find out that the reason you're suffering is what Buddha said. I pushed it to the edges here, but that is why you suffer. You suffer because you have preferences. Do you have things you want to happen, things you don't want to happen? I have this thing called, I'm being a scientist today, a truth table. You know what a truth table is, right? It's a 4-quadrant truth table, all right? If you want something to happen, and it happens, I love it. Oh my God, I'm so happy. I'm so happy I just met exactly the kind of person I want to meet. And oh my God, I won the lottery. I wanted something to happen, and it happened. That's a great experience. I want something to happen, and it didn't happen. It's called disappointment, depression, not happy. I wanted that to happen, right or wrong, okay? I don't want something to happen, and it happens. How you doing? Oh my God. It's kind of the opposite of when I wanted something to happen, it happened. Now I didn't want something to happen, it happened. The terrible part about it is, yesterday you wanted it to happen, and today you don't want it to happen. No, excuse me, 5 minutes ago you wanted it to happen. I love you with all my heart. My God, you're the most perfect person for me. And you love me so much. You tell me all these things. I'm just ecstatic till you walk away and say the exact same thing to the person next to you about how much you love them and how perfect they are and you've always loved them your entire life. How you doing? Not hard to switch quickly, is it? Mind. You have a preference. Guess what? Buddha was right, wasn't he? All life is suffering. Why? Because you have preferences. Whoa. We'll go to the third and fourth. All right, but you're right. You're right. I suffer because I have preferences. So, all life is suffering, cause suffering and preferences. What? I'm afraid to hear the third noble truth. All right? Stop it. Don't have preferences. You won't suffer. And we'll talk about it. I still have some time. We're having fun here. But first of all, is it true that you suffer because of that truth table? I forgot it all. Like I had 3 quadrants, right? If you get what you want, you're ecstatic. If you don't get what you want, you're disappointed, you're depressed. If you get what you don't want, you suffer tremendously. If you don't have to get what you don't want, you feel relieved. Every one of those is based on preference. Just switch it around. You're happy, you're sad, right? Depends on your preferences. It's the cause of every single thing. But we won't live that way. We won't talk that way. We won't wake up enough We're too busy. We're so caught in our preferences that we don't want to hear a talk like this. I'm surprised you're still here, because you'd rather be out there learning how to win friends and influence people because you have a preference. Do you want people to like you? Do you want people to like you? There's your truth table. They like you, you're wonderful. They don't like you, terrible. Yeah, don't be so quick. All right? And, well, I can fix it right away. No, I don't want people to like me that I don't like. Look at that. Preference. Isn't it amazing? It's all based on mind's preferences. What about the heart? Have you noticed that there's a conspiracy going on inside of you, that your mind and your heart kind of talk to each other? And they kind of, like if somebody says to you something you don't like, you might say, I can't believe what you said. And your heart goes, "Ugh." And if somebody walks up to you and says, oh my God, you're the most beautiful person I've ever met, and I think you walk on water. I've wanted to tell you this since kindergarten, all right, but I was embarrassed to tell you. Okay? How's your mind doing? Say it again. You actually do that. Somebody comes up to you and says, God, I love you so much. What'd you say? I couldn't hear you. Yeah, right. And so you're sitting in there, and the mind is determining how you're doing. But you won't pay attention to that. I don't care how much I talk about it. You'll go right back out there, and you'll project your preferences out into the world. And you'll be happy when you get what you want, and you'll be sad when you don't get what you want. It's not just, I've been talking in the present, getting what you want, not getting what you want. Well, what about the future? You okay with the future? Depends on what I think will happen. This is getting way too complicated. It's like, 4-dimensional chess. At least 3-dimension, past, present, future. Okay? Are you okay with the thought that what you don't want to happen might happen? Do you do this thing called worry? Oh, what a great mind. Physics mind. No, let's worry instead. Worry about what? What hasn't happened yet. Well, how can you worry about hasn't happened yet? It hasn't happened yet. I can make it up and make it really look bad. I can worry about it. Do you see what you're using your mind to do? To ruin your life. Well, now I've talked two big ones. The present, there it is, okay? And then the future, you got to learn not to do that stuff. I mean, that's just crazy. To make up a future and then not like it. Excuse me, and then suffer. Do you suffer if you make up a future that you're afraid might happen, you don't want it to happen? Do you suffer? Can you suffer? Preference. Look what you've done. So they basically get down to the point. I ask you a question. Have things happened in your past that you don't like? Do they make you suffer? If you think about them, if they come up by themselves, heart and mind, we talk about heart and mind being a cahoots, you see something, your heart starts to hurt, the mind thinks about how terrible it was, how terrible it is? No, they're all dead. It happened a long time ago. Can you suffer because of what happened when you're 5 years old and you're 50? Go talk to psychology, talk to Freud. What kind of thing is this? You're causing yourself to suffer because you have a preference about what isn't even happening. It won't happen again. You won't be 5 again. Your parents won't get divorced. You won't get bullied in school. You go through all kinds of things, but you didn't want to, and therefore they cause you to suffer. And you did a silly thing with that. Bad enough that you suffered, you decide to store the suffering. I don't like it so much that I'm going to remember it all the time for the rest of my life. And you wonder why we have so many problems. We create them. We store them. We almost like we prefer to have them. We must prefer to have them. Why? We talk about them all the time. You can't imagine what happened to me in my childhood. Right? Let me tell you about it. There's blogs out there. They all just talk to each other about all the stuff that happened that they preferred wouldn't happen, will never happen again, but it happened. Okay. I'll get worn out here. He's going to go, I'm going to start suffering about this. And every single bit of it is based on preference. Some of us grew up with childhoods that weren't so perfect. They weren't ones you put on nice Leave It to Beaver TV shows. Okay? And guess what? We look back, we say, I really grew through that. I'm a better person because my parents got divorced and I didn't like my stepfather or my stepmother or my stepbrothers and sisters. I'm a better person because there were 15 children in my family and there wasn't enough money for food and this and that. And I learned that I can be okay going through situations like that. You get to do that. Do you understand that? In other words, I didn't have a preference against it. Therefore, I grew from it. I learned. It was an experience I had as opposed to, you don't understand what I went through. No one understands what I went through. You can't begin to feel what I felt when that happened. Okay, I'm sorry. Believe me, I'm sorry. And I know you need to talk about it. Why? Because you stored it. It's good to talk about your past. Why? Because I couldn't handle it. I literally suppressed it and stored it in, let's talk psychology, Freud. I stored it inside of me. Why? Because I preferred that it didn't happen. And so what you did, take that quadrant that said, what I don't want to happen, and I'm going to keep it. I'll keep it, and I'll tell you about it. Am I telling the truth? Do we live like that? Why? Why would you want to live like that? Have we gotten across this preference stuff? There's this beautiful writing in the Zen tradition. It's called The Treatise on Faith Mind by the third Zen patriarch. And all you need is the first line, but I'll give you a couple of lines. The great way, enlightenment, the great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. When love and hate are both absent, everything becomes clear and undisguised. To set aside what you like against what you dislike is the disease of the mind. Avoid such pursuits carefully. These are deep truths, aren't they? We don't live them, right? But if you do, you're talking about enlightenment. What does that mean? Liberation, nirvana. What is that about? If you don't cause yourself to suffer, you will not suffer. And now you don't want to buy that you cause yourself to suffer. Your preferences are causing you to suffer, period. Every minute, every second of your life. You can't walk outside without being concerned what somebody's going to say, what somebody's going to do, how you look, what's going to happen, is it going to rain today? I didn't want it to. I don't want it to rain today. It's a preference. Can it make you suffer? Can you get upset because it's going to rain or because the weather forecast is going to rain this week at some point and your wedding's outside on the week? If you apply this truth, you would understand the great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. All right, now the question becomes, I don't need much time. Well, what do you do about it? How do I not have preferences? Now, listen carefully. How do I not have preferences? I have preferences. I'm full of them. I have preferences about everything. I don't want to be clouded in that. I was going to go stargazing. Okay, go be depressed. Okay? How do I not have preferences? Because I have a lot of preferences. The other thing Buddhists say, I'm being a Buddhist today, the other thing Buddhists say is work at the root. Don't work at the leaf, don't work at the flower, because it'll keep coming back. Work at the root, and things can be solved. What is the root of preference? I've learned, I've been doing this for 50-odd years. I would never tell you don't have preferences. I would tell you to take a look and see where they come from. Instead of trying to satisfy them or avoid them, take a look and realize you have them, and they are causing you to suffer. There is no tension, no anxiety, no fear, nothing if you don't have preferences. I'll make an exception to a lion's jumping at you. Yes, there's natural fear, okay? But that's not your problem. Your problem is, oh, I have a little zit on my chin and I got to go to the party. You have serious problems, don't you? So you sit there and understand, yes, I have preferences, and yes, they cause tension. Yes, they cause anxiety. Yes, they cause fear. Yes, they cause me to suffer. They do. So instead of siding with them and saying, yeah, I have preference, and if I get that one quadrant where I get what I want, I am having a great life. So have fun trying to make everything be the way you want it to be all the time. Yeah, but at least some of the time, That's not the great way. That's I'll cope. I'll cope with the fact that life doesn't unfold the way I want, but every once in a while it does, but then it doesn't last. Either it doesn't last or what I want changes. You see what the Buddhists mean by transient? You change all the time. Married him, now you're getting divorced. What happened? It wasn't the way I preferred it to be. Started out that way. It looked like it was going to be. And so you get down to the point where you understand you have to be willing to notice that you are caught up in your preferences, that your whole life is about getting what you want and avoiding what you don't want. In other words, just violate that second truth that the cause of suffering is preferences. Instead, go out there and try to get your preferences to happen and just accept that the vast majority of the time, they ain't happening. The weather's not what you want it to be. People aren't treating you the way you want it to be treated. You're not looking the way you want. Come on, I can give you quite a laundry list, can't I? It ain't happening the way you want it to be happening all the time, is it? How about very rarely? But when it does, it's great. So therefore, the name of the game is just go out there and get all the money and get all the power so that you can use it to try and get your preferences. And you will suffer, and you will get ulcers, and you will be miserable. Do you understand that? All right, so what do? How do I get rid of the preferences? Thank God there are those who caught on and said, don't suppress them. It's not about renunciation. It's not about get rid of your preferences. Okay, I love her to pieces, but I don't care if I ever see her again. Don't you dare do that. Don't you dare think spirituality is about renunciation. It's not. It's not about renouncing your preferences, but understanding why you have preferences. It's not about just like we understood that it got down to a quantum field. Where's the bottom of this? Not deny it. Okay, now, thank God. Okay, it's like, so what is going on? Well, you're in there. You're in there. You're the one who's noticing the preferences. You're the one who's seeing what they do. You're the one who notices the urge to go out and get what you want and then avoid what you don't want. Do you try to avoid what you don't want all the time? Do you try to get what you want all the time? You're in there. Are you willing to be conscious? That's what meditation is. That's what spirituality is. That's what the entire path is. Are you willing to be in there and notice what's going on in there? Not be in there, not like what's going on in there, and sort of try to change the outside so that when it comes in, it feels better. Did anyone hear that one? Anybody busy doing that? Let's change the outside so that when I receive it, it's what I want. That's how I'm going to get what I want. Good luck. Have you ever noticed people don't behave very well? People don't always do very well when you try to make them be the way you want them to be. Okay, so far, we did a great thing. We're not renouncing the outside. There's no reason to renounce the outside. It's a bunch of freaking atoms. I'm glad I had that first talk. I'm going to renounce. I don't like those atoms. I don't like those quantum vibrations. It's not about the outside. It can't be. I told you, it's just a bunch of atoms moving around. It's about inside. You're doing it. You inside decide you don't like something, and now you're projecting onto the outside and then having a miserable time. But then your answer to the miserable time is manipulate the outside to make it be what you want more often. Get sick. Be neurotic. Be scared. Be insecure. Do you understand that? I love you. I love you so much. How do you know? No, I really do love. For how long? And so you realize it's not about the outside. That doesn't mean you're renouncing the outside. It's unfolding in front of you. It's a motion picture. It's constantly changing. When someone left home this morning and they were in a good mood, they had a bad day at work. They come home, they're in a bad mood. You okay with that? Look at me in the eyes. Hey, you know what? Today's Father's Day. I'm going to be a father right now. Look me in the eyes. Ready? It's not going to be the way you want. Is it? It is not naturally going to be the way you want. You can't make it be the way you want. You can, for short periods of time, get it to be the way you want, but it doesn't last, does it? Answer me. And you're afraid of, come on, I just looked you in the eyes. That's a good, intelligent, wise father, right? Listen, that's a bunch of atoms out there dancing around based on the laws of quantum physics. They are not going to be the way you want all the time, all right? The weather's not going to be what you want. The people are not going to be what you want. It's not going to be what you want. Wake up, okay? Your starting is the acceptance of the reality that you are not in charge. I know people like to think they are. You are not in charge, and you're not going to manipulate it. to try to make it be what you want every moment that's passing by you. So you start with the outside. It's fine. It's not terrible. It just is what it is. It is. How to get that way? Because of its past. All the different things that ever happened came together to create the moment in front of you. Okay, good. So now we know it's not about getting the outside to be the way you want. That's preference. We're talking about preference? There's a preference. All right. So now you come inside. What does that mean? You're in there, aren't you? You live in there. What's going on in there? You don't want to know, and I don't want to tell you. Okay? And you realize it's not okay in there. How did it get not okay in there? I already told you. You stored every single thing that ever bothered you, and you kept it inside of you. It's because you stored every single thing that disturbed you, which is a lot, inside, and you built an inside, your ego, your self-concept, based on that wisdom, that knowledge of everything that ever hurt you. And now you have an ego that doesn't want to be hurt, is insecure, is afraid, it has to control and manipulate and put bars in the windows. I want to talk to you tonight. I'm not doing well. No, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. In other words, you can't handle anything because you made a mess in there. Is it a mess in there? Come on now, look at me. Is it a mess in there? You try for it not to be, but pretty weird, isn't it? Okay. How to get that way? I just told you. Because you had preferences in the past and you didn't know how to handle them. Wait. You just told me to get rid of preferences. Don't create them. I'm driving, now I'll go real fast, you know my teaching. I'm driving down the road and I'm in a rush. Well, believe it or not, it's a preference, but okay, we'll let go a little bit, all right? And the driver in front of me is driving 15 miles an hour below the speed limit. It's a single lane each way, highway, and I can't pass. How are you doing? Have you noticed you have a preference? Have you noticed you're getting upset, uptight? Do you talk to the driver in front of you? Do they hear you? Okay, you have a meaningless preference that is causing you to suffer. I can't handle reality. I have a preference inside that I made up that doesn't match what's happening outside. Can you learn, ready, at least with those little things, to not do that? It's raining. I don't like when it's raining. You think that's innocent. That is a preference. You can have a bad day because it rained in the morning. Can't you? You did this. That is the root of preference, is resistance. Life is happening, and you're in there saying, I don't want it to be happening. You're not going to be okay. Reality always wins. Can you handle reality? In other words, not have preferences. I don't suppress them, but I can stop building them. All right? I can instead just sit there and say, I can handle that it's raining. That's being able to deal with what you would have had a preference. I can't handle it. I can handle it. Just learn to say that. You want a mantra? I can handle it. I can handle it. You can handle what? I can handle what he said to me. I can handle what she's wearing. I can handle it. If you can handle it, you won't store it. It'll come in and it'll pass through. And then you start doing that. You start practicing, like you practice the piano, you practice tennis. Practice handling the thing. Why? Because it's reality. And if you don't handle it, it's going to screw up your life. If you can handle it, it won't screw up your life. If you can't handle it, it will screw up your life. Why? Because you pushed it away. You stored it inside because you couldn't handle it. So you start practicing handling things. That's how you deal with preferences. You don't build them. You don't buy into them. You don't renounce them. It's not about suppression. It's not that kind of, it's about wisdom of seeing what's going on in there, okay? And you'll see the root of it is preference. And so you start saying, I can let go of that. No big deal. I can let go of that. And you do. And you find out, God, it would have bothered me all day. No, it didn't bother me. Great. Then you do it with a bigger thing. How? I can't do it now. Things really hurt. Yes, but as you learn to let go of the simpler things, you'll find that it's natural to let go of a bigger thing. If right now you hit the tennis ball into the net every single time, Hear me? But you learn to bend your wrist a little bit. And all of a sudden, it goes over the net some, all right? But I still can't handle being served, all right? But little by little, you get better at it. You don't even realize you're getting better. Practice makes perfect, right? I want you to be perfect. Not because you behave a certain way, but you learn to let go. And all of a sudden, big things happen, really big things that people can actually handle. You understand that? They can go through them and not have to complain about it all the time and everything like that. And just sit there and say, yeah, that was a really tough time of my life, and I grew a lot. All right? That's how you get rid of preferences. You don't build them by handling things and being open. Hear me? Then all of a sudden your heart opens. What do you mean your heart opens? You don't understand. You shove everything that ever happened you don't like on top of your heart. You push it down, don't you? That's what suppression is and repression. You push it down. You pushed it down on top of the Shakti flow, which is the essence of spirituality. The Colorado River can't flow with the Hoover Dam in the way. Your heart can't open when you shoved all this junk on top of it. And so every little thing bothers you. As you let go and don't put more in, then you start letting go of the old stuff, right? And eventually, I'm telling you, you start feeling this upward flow of energy instead of downward. Shakti. It's real. It's coming in to feed you day and night. Because it feeds you, you can let go of stuff. I don't want to give this up because of what you said. I can handle what you said. I'm not closing my heart, ever. I'm not ever closing my heart. Why? It's no fun. Remember we were out there floating souls? What do I want to do? I want to go down there and close my heart. No, I want to have a good time. You want to have a good time? Then have a good time. All right? And you're going to go through growth. And that stuff, you have to handle what's happening now. How? By relaxing instead of resisting. I don't know how to stop, right? Literally, you're in there resisting everything that you don't like. If you relax instead, well, it doesn't feel good. Relax through it. You can handle it. You can handle things. And when you can handle them, they pass through. Fine. Don't have to worry about it. And more, then all the past starts coming up. Why? Because it's down there, but it doesn't feel good. Relax and release it. You don't want it down there. Now we're talking. Hear me? That's why this whole talk was a spiritual discussion to get here. You don't want it down there. It's causing, what is your preference? That what happened before that I didn't like doesn't happen again. That what happened before they did like happens again. There you go. You just build preferences based on all your past experiences. And you start letting go. And all of a sudden, you have no idea what goes on in there. All of a sudden, there's all this light, this love, tremendous love about anything, everything. A bird sings, you melt. You're constantly melting. Whoa. That's what I want to do when I go down there. I want to enjoy every single moment of my life. How can you? Because if it's not what I want, it's fun. I'll have to stop. The lady who gave us the Durga statue, Mayuk Shakti, is a picture down there. Very, very high being. She wouldn't let you know it, but really high saint from India. She never talked about herself, but once, we were very close over the years. She left some years ago, died. She leaned over to me, and she says, I don't know where she is. Mickey, I say, yes, Mother. She says, don't you just love when they yell at you? There's so much energy. I love it. How would you like that? How would you like that every single thing that comes in lifts you? It's just Shakti. It's just energy. Okay. Triggered.
You've been listening to the Michael Singer Podcast, produced by Sounds True in partnership with Shanti Publications. For more information on Michael's body of work and all back episodes, please join us at michaelsingerpodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening. Sounds True, waking up the world.